I started out today thinking I was going to paint some cows, and then I suddenly felt like I couldn't remember how to paint cows. And then I tried some pictures around the yard to see some different plants with shadow and light. I thought I was going to paint that. Ultimately, it wasn't going well. I didn't feel like I could paint cows or plants. And so I decided to go to my comfort place, and I'm going to paint a scene of the ocean. So today, that's what we're going to do. And I think you will sometimes find you feel the same way. I can't paint, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you paint something and you feel better. So let's check it out. I like to do my outlines with the transparent red oxide. So I made the dark area with alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and yellow ochre, and then I added a little bit of white, and then I blocked in the dark stuff. And then this is alizarin crimson, yellow medium, added quite a bit of white, and then I did end up adding some transparent red oxide because it needed to be duller. And now I'm going to add the water. So I'm starting with a lavender to get my line in, and there's sort of a lavender tint to it. And this is basically ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and white. And of course the value right now, this is just the block-in, so the value is not going to be correct, and we'll just keep adding to it till we get things right. The color of the water in the distance is always lighter. So taking the same mixture, I added some transparent red oxide and more white. Betty, no. The dog wants to eat my paint. It's the constant struggle. So I'm leaving some spaces around the rocks for the white water. I'm using a rosemary filbert number 4. Lately, this seems to be my go-to brush because then I don't have to change to a different brush for tiny spots. It helps me get the big stuff in, as well as I can get some detailing with this brush. I'm sure there's people that will say, you should change brushes for different colors so you don't get your paint messed up, and they're probably right, but this works for me. So I'm using cobalt blue with a little phthalo blue and lots of white to get the sky blocked in. There is a hint of some fog right at the horizon, and I'm going to try to get that in as well. To get the darker spots, the darker water, I mixed ultramarine blue with transparent oxide. Out here I'm going to use some titanium white with yellow medium, just a touch to show the surf. Well, the block-in's done. I'm getting some more white water in the picture. Quite a bit of white water in here. I put the underlayment of this brownish sort of color because it shows quite a bit through the surf. And I used transparent red oxide and ultramarine blue. The surf always comes in at a bit of an angle. There's a lot of motion, so I'm trying to portray that with my brush strokes. I'd like to get a little bit of the lavender and white in here as well. Actually, there's a lot of colors in the surf. It's not just white, it's not just yellow and white, it's not blue and white. And the water's not just blue either. There's lots of variations of color in the water. You can sometimes see this darker color close to rocks because you get more turbulence. So I'm getting some other colors in the water. And that's a good reason to have your colors all mixed up and ready to go, because you can just get what you need. So in the middle of this more distant part of the ocean, I noticed there is a more vivid blue. It's kind of that phthalo blue color. And I'm going to put some transparent red oxide in that. Buddy has joined me again. Now, in looking at that fog bank, very faint fog bank in the distance, it kind of looks like distant land. And I don't think it looks bad. I'm tempted to sort of leave it. There's also that element of the underpainting, which was transparent red oxide. It makes it look more like land. So meanwhile, right now I need to fix the cliffs and the sort of dirt color. One thing you'll notice in looking at the cliffs is the color does change. There's the sort of more reddish. Part of the problem with this painting is I kind of invented this lower half, and so when I stepped back to look at this, I noticed that I needed to extend this darkness down here. I'm not sure what I thought I was going to do, but it definitely needs to be extended. It needs to be one mass. This basically is in shadow, and you've got to reflect that. So I'm going to bring this down. And this is a little lighter, and that's okay. It makes it look kind of like it's actually getting a little more light. And then I'll add some highlights to that part. And this is sticking out. This is also quite dark. Now these rocks, this aspect of them is actually getting the sun this way, so this has got to be a little lighter. It's a little darker right there because it's getting the shadow from the rock next to it. So back to the cliffs, I added a little cad yellow medium to cad lemon with the titanium white right here. It helps to have some suggestion of the crevices between the rocks because this is basically a pile of rock. So I'm trying to put some texture in here. We want it to look like a rocks, and this group of rocks right here needs to be darker. So let me mix another batch of that same color, which is alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and a little transparent red oxide to dull it. That's the same color I used down here and kind of on this side of these rocks. So let me add that up here. We're going to give it some light up top, getting light from the sun on this side. All right, I'm liking the way the bottom of this is looking. I'm not particularly happy with this, but maybe it needs more red. Never hurts to put more color. This color isn't seen in the photograph, but it's a good strategy to put color, as long as the value is correct, put color in it. Now that I'm looking at it, probably wouldn't hurt to mix some of that blue in there. Okay, that's better. Now all we have left is the sky and these cliffs over here. Now this is yellow ochre with titanium white. I'm gonna add just a little bit of cad yellow medium with titanium white right here. These are pretty warm colors, so it's a good idea to get some cool colors in there with it. Okay, all finished. This painting took me about 3 hours, a little longer than I expected. I tried to be kind of messy and not too much detail and not overwork the painting. In the end, I was actually kind of happy with it because I didn't think it was going to work because I thought there was too much rocks in the front of the painting, and wasn't sure I could actually make it look right, but I really am pleased with it. And I was feeling like a failure at the beginning because I couldn't paint a cow and I couldn't paint a plant, or I felt like I couldn't. We all have those moments, So, and then I thought, well, I'll just go to my old standby and I'll feel a lot better. And so I did. I went to the ocean, painted this, feel great. And I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. And subscribe. Thank you. Happy painting.